Every 4.5 minutes, a ship squeezes through a gap 14 kilometers wide, and every one of those ships is crossing the only door between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. This is the Strait of Gibraltar, and whoever controls the door controls the room. The strait sits at the western end of the Mediterranean, separating the southern tip of Spain from the northwestern coast of Morocco. It is 14 kilometers at its narrowest, roughly 60 kilometers long, and deep enough for the world's largest supertankers and nuclear submarines. The Atlantic pushes east through it constantly. A surface current of lighter, carried, fresher water flowing inward at 2 to 3 knots, while colder, saltier Mediterranean water slides back out underneath at depth. That is not just interesting oceanography. During the Second World War, German U-boats used those bottom currents to drift silently into the Mediterranean with engines off, invisible to acoustic detection. The double layer of water is a physical fact that has been exploited by every naval power that ever came through here. The geography here is not an accident of history. It is the reason history happened here. The Romans called this point the Pillars of Hercules, the edge of the known world. For the British Empire, it was the lock on the Mediterranean. Gibraltar, the limestone rock on the northern shore, has been a British overseas territory since 1704, seized during the War of the Spanish Succession, before the age of steam, before aircraft carriers, before the concept of a navy as we understand it existed. 300 years later, that political fact still matters to Spain, which has claimed sovereignty over it continuously since the day it was lost. The disputed status of that 6.7 square kilometer rock is a live diplomatic irritant between two NATO allies in 2026. Spain controls Ceuta on the southern shore, another small enclave, another dispute, this one with Morocco. Both territories are reminders that the strait is not just a shipping lane. It is a seam in Europe's political geography that has never fully closed. More than 300 vessels transit the strait every single day, over 110,000 ships annually, according to Vessel Traffic Monitoring Services. That is roughly 10% of all global maritime trade passing through a corridor 14 kilometers wide. The cargo ranges from container ships loaded with Asian electronics bound for European ports to crude oil tankers heading north from the Persian Gulf to refineries in Rotterdam. LNG carriers from the United States and Qatar pass through on their way to energy-hungry European terminals. If you fill your car with petrol in Madrid, there is a strong chance the crude oil passed through Gibraltar. If you pay a gas bill in Barcelona, the same may be true of the LNG. 3 or 4 Russian origin oil tankers pass through the strait every single day, part of Moscow's shadow fleet, moving sanctioned crude from Baltic ports to buyers who do not ask questions. In January 2026, a sanctioned tanker called the Chariot Tide broke down in Spain's search and rescue zone and was escorted by a Spanish vessel to the Moroccan port of Tangier Med. The incident exposed the quiet diplomatic calculus happening at this chokepoint. Spain does not enforce EU sanctions aggressively here, partly to avoid aggravating Morocco, a neighbor it cannot afford to alienate. Ceuta is on that coast. The migrants crossing the border there are political pressure Spain cannot ignore. Geopolitics at Gibraltar is never just about the ships. The port of Algeciras, on the Spanish side, is one of the busiest transshipment hubs in Europe. Tangier Med, on the Moroccan side, opened in 2007 and now handles over 9 million containers per year. A port that literally did not exist 20 years ago, built to capture traffic generated by the strait itself. These two ports, separated by 14 kilometers of water, compete directly for the same business, and both depend entirely on the 300 ships that pass between them every day. The strait is also a key artery for NATO. During the Cold War, it was one of the most critical choke points for tracking Soviet submarines transiting between the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. That mission has not ended. In October 2025, a Russian Black Sea Fleet submarine, the Novorossiysk, suffered a serious fuel leak while transiting near Gibraltar, a mechanical failure that blew its acoustic cover and triggered multinational NATO tracking responses. The incident was a reminder that this is still contested naval space. In 2025 alone, close to 300 documented Russian transits were recorded at the strait, including 43 warships, the highest count since 2021 and a direct consequence of Russia losing its Syrian naval base at Tartus, which forced its Black Sea Fleet to reroute through here to reach the Atlantic. Spain's patrol vessel Centinela and U.S. military aircraft from the Rota Air Base operate continuous monitoring missions. The strait is not at peace. It is managed. So what happens if Gibraltar closes? Not in theory, in practice. A blockade, a war, even a severe escalation in the Spain-Morocco territorial tensions could do it. The Atlantic-Mediterranean route carries approximately 10% of global trade. Ships that need to reach Mediterranean ports from the Atlantic have no bypass. The Suez Canal is on the other side of the Mediterranean. You still need to enter it. The Turkish Straits are locked by the Montreal Convention. There is no alternative gate into the inland sea from the west. Diverting cargo around Africa adds several thousand kilometers and multiple days of sailing time per voyage, multiplying costs across thousands of ships simultaneously. For every day, a large container ship reroutes around the Cape of Good Hope instead of threading Gibraltar. The operator pays tens of thousands of dollars in additional bunker fuel. Multiply that across the hundreds of ships that transit every day, and a prolonged closure does not just disrupt supply chains, it reprices them permanently. Europe's southern economies, Spain, France, Italy, Greece, depend on Mediterranean access for imports and exports. NATO's ability to reinforce its southern flank depends on freedom of movement through Gibraltar. The combined GDP of countries dependent on Mediterranean trade runs into the tens of trillions of dollars. The moment that corridor is contested, the Mediterranean stops being an inland lake and becomes a trap. The strait has been controlled by someone for 3,000 years. First Carthage, then Rome, then the Moorish Caliphate, then the Spanish Crown, then the British Empire. Every one of them understood the same thing. You do not hold the Mediterranean without holding this gate. The lesson of that history is simple, and it has never been disproven. Nobody has ever been willing to let this door stand open for free.